morning,
Mr. Chan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us on the program. Now, Mr. Chan will be here with us for the next hour to answer all your questions on the budget. So do give us a call. Our number is 233-88266. That's 233-88266. And you can watch our special phone-in program on Radio 3's Facebook page, RTHK's news website, as well as its app. You can, of course, listen to us on the radio. Once again, 233-88266 is the number to call if you want to speak directly to the Financial Secretary.
And just a warm reminder to our viewers and our listeners to get your calls in early because it does get busy as the program unfolds. Mr. Chan, good morning.
Yeah, good morning,
Welcome
Tony.
to the program.
Yeah,
thank you for joining us. I just want to talk about the budget unveiling plans for a 7% reduction in recurrent expenditure, plus plans to cut civil service jobs by about 10,000 by 2027, as well as an adjustment to the fare mechanism for the elderly. And there are also plans for cuts to university spending, as well as ending the $2,500 student subsidy. So just an overall macro view of that. Could we say that this is a more austerity-minded budget than before? And if so, does this mean that Hong Kong is entering an age of austerity as a way to handle the deficit?
Well, you know, during the COVID and post-COVID period, we have spent a lot of money in order to support our people, our economy, as well as reinforcing the financial stability of Hong Kong. The current plan, I would call it a fiscal consolidation plan, meaning that we have to reduce the expenditure growth, but at the same time to increase our revenue with the focus on the former, meaning that cutting expenditure growth is the primary tool to return us to balance. That is why in the various expenditure area, we do take a hard look into how we can improve our services with more rationalized resources use.
Right, now looking at the deficit situation, it's $87.2 billion this year. Next year it's expected to fall to $67 billion. Does this mean the worst is over for now for Hong Kong?
I do think so. Of course, there are uncertainties and external complexities given the geopolitics. But on the other hand, mainland's economy is growing. It is our hinterland. And with the efforts, all our efforts of the government and various parties in the communities, in terms of attracting investments, attracting talents to Hong Kong, we have achieved considerable results. And this will add to our economic impetus. Say, for example, on attracting strategic enterprises, we have attracted about 66. Another batch of over 10 companies will be announced next month. Altogether, these companies will be investing over $50 billion in the next couple of years and creating about 20,000 quality jobs. This is one part of the story, but at the same time, Invest Hong Kong attracted another 500 plus companies to Hong Kong. The amount of investment overall slightly more than Oasis effort. So also in my interaction with the foreign business community during my various trips to the US, Europe, people are starting to come back post-COVID and realize that the opportunities here are still very promising. So say, for example, the financial services sector, many of them expand their footprint here. So if we remain focused to grow our economy, I think we will be able to bring in more revenue. And with the reduced expenditure growth, that will gradually return us to balance.
All right, Mr. Chan, we have our first caller, and it's Mr. Ng. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, good morning. Hello, Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to ask if the government ever evaluate the grants of the research given to the university or private company. The reason I ask is because I have visited the itf.gov.hk, which is the Innovation and Technology Fund. Over the years, they have granted nearly 50 million Hong Kong dollar for the research. and I searched using the keyword artificial intelligence. It returned 415 projects. About a quarter, one-fourth of the projects are related to medical and healthcare. However, in your speech, you have mentioned artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence application. You have mentioned robots and new industrialization, but you have not mentioned about healthcare and medical. Is it because the government has evaluated this project, they have granted the subsidies, and they are useless? And so that you make a correct decision that we should not entertain this kind of project anymore, or your staff has never evaluated the effectiveness of this research, and you are not consider how and the history of our subsidies before making the new direction on the AI.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ng. Let's let Mr. Chan respond.
Yeah, thank you. Medical and health is a core advantage of Hong Kong. And in fact, we have invested heavily in this area. As Mr. Ng pointed out, previously a lot of these investments are into universities, promoting basic research. And the way we see it is that we'll keep our grants to the universities, but at the same time, we need to do more in terms of translational research and also provide incentive to move this translational research into economic development, industry development. So that is why we've put the focus on industry-led research. So in that sense, going forward, we will continue to invest in the health and health science, health tech sector. The Lok Ma Chau Loop between the border of Hong Kong and Shenzhen will be a major area for these companies to be located. And also we think perhaps it would be wiser, not just using government's money, but also using market resources. That is why we put up a scheme on a matching basis to co-invest with general partners, which are fund managers in these areas. In fact, the Information and Technology Bureau, ITIB, is inviting expression of interest from the sector, and the response has been very favorable.
Mr. Chan, we have another caller on the line. Aaron, go ahead.
Josan, good morning, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks very much for your time and attention today and for making yourself so accessible to the public.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron.
It is a very admirable aspect of Hong Kong governance, which I think defies all of the Western propaganda. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I have been living in Hong Kong for 25 years, half my life now. My children were born and raised and educated here and are Chinese citizens. I love giving back to the place we call home. One of the ways I've been giving back is through my community and volunteer activities. And among other things, I am now serving as Vice Commodore at Hebe Haven Yacht Club in Pak Sa Wen. And I was very intrigued and very pleased, delighted, in fact, to hear your comments on the development of Hong Kong marina facilities, sailing, and sea sports. And I think that Hong Kong is a natural for this from many aspects. And I think that we can agree that the Hong Kong government can do a lot of good in this area. So I'd like to ask you for just some more details on those proposals and also to let us know how we can help. I think that our waters are clean and accessible to a large concentrated urban population. Our geographic location obviously affords a favorable climate for year-round sailing, and minimal new land is needed for these activities, which is also good, given Hong Kong's public finance system, which is based on land leases. So I'm very happy to hear your thoughts, sir. And as always, we are here to work together with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. As you know, we are going to look at the area around the pier area in Hong Kong. But at the same time, perhaps you may have also heard that around the airport area, we are also going to develop marinas and mariners clubs. The Hong Kong is very privileged. The water body in Hong Kong is clean, the weather is great, so very good for water sports and sailing events. So we are going to make good use of this for our Hong Kong people's enjoyment, but at the same time would be a great tourist attraction as well. That is what we have been planning. This will attract a lot of yachts from the region and make it more vibrant a sector. So if you have any proposals, please do let us know. Yeah. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for your call, Aaron. And we have another caller, Mr. Chan. You seem to be very popular this morning. And the caller is Sunil. Good morning, Sunil.
Sunil,
Hi,
good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chan. I had a question regarding the gold vault and the gold market. And it's a two-part question. One is, can you explain how this will help Hong Kong? All the, the changes that you're looking at. How is that going to help the Hong Kong economy? That's the first part. The second part is, in terms of your plans, have you got the buy-in and the support of the PRC government?
Thank you. Well, we have set up a working group led by the Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. And this working group will put up proposals as to how we can develop gold and commodities as an active sector in Hong Kong. To begin with, it is about storage. And we have already obtained the approval from the London Metal Exchange to allow Hong Kong to be a recognized place for this storage. And in fact, the market response has been very favorable. Many warehouse companies approach us to learn about the requirements and express their interest in doing this. The positioning of Hong Kong in developing this area is not just for Hong Kong, but as you rightly point out, the mainland as well as the region. Because in Asia, gold, on the one hand, as an investment tool, but at the same time, for many central banks, this is a very major part of their reserve. So on this, we want to take advantage of this, but not just for storage, but also for trading and using gold as a collateral to develop a chain of related activities. So it is very useful to promote Hong Kong as an international financial center, but also stimulate the interrelation between shipping as well as shipping, professional services, and financial services. We have been discussing this with the mainland authorities because they are one of the major use of gold globally. So we have been in discussion with them as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil, for your call. And while we're waiting for our next caller, maybe I can ask you something about what Tony mentioned earlier about cut in recurrent expenditure.
Certainly.
And
Certainly,
also cut in civil servants. I mean, with these cuts, do you think will any services by the government be affected? Will waiting time for some services be longer? I mean, what does it actually mean for the public?
Our aim is to maintain the high level of public services that the various government departments are providing. We do recognize the fact that technology development will be and has been changing the mode of operations and way of life. So we have set aside resources and provide training to help our various governments to use technology tools to enhance their work efficiency and also take the opportunity to streamline, take a review of their operational model and procedures, how this could be further rationalized and optimized. So the idea is to keep the level of services using more technology, enhancing efficiency, reviewing work process, and by that gradually reduce the headcount. By the year 2027, 28, to achieve 2%, 2%, 2%. Yeah.
And just a reminder to our viewers that you can call us at 233-88266. That's just a reminder of the 233-88266 if you want to get your questions in to Mr. Chan, Financial Secretary. Mr. Chan, I just want to go back to an earlier point you made about investments and how you're seeing a return of FDI into Hong Kong, more businesses from abroad choosing to set up businesses, set up their regional headquarters here in Hong Kong, despite geopolitical uncertainties. But those geopolitical uncertainties do linger. I mean, just overnight we had President Donald Trump announce an additional round of tariffs on China, which could have a potential knock-on effect on Hong Kong. Are these kind of uncertainties, these kind of variables, something that your administration is actively considering mitigating or dealing with in the months ahead this year? I mean, because they will remain and could also affect the outlook, and what sort of measures could be in place for Hong Kong to sort of shield itself?
Yeah, thank you, Tony. The geopolitical tensions will be there for quite a long time, I would think that. And indeed, not just the Hong Kong SAR government, but also the mainland authorities and the mainland enterprises have been responding to this. To simply put it, on the one hand, we try to reinforce the relationships and trading relationships with developed economies, US, Europe, because for them, contact with them, many of their business are still very interested in the mainland market. And Hong Kong will be the natural landing platform for them, using this platform to access the mainland market and to expand in the region. And at the same time, given the geopolitics, a lot of the mainland companies are considering diversification in terms of their supply chain, in terms of their industry chain. And many of these companies are going to Southeast Asia, for example. So our response is that on the trade side, instead of just doing trading, we should realign ourselves as the high value-added supply chain management center to facilitate that process. Because when they go global, they need a lot of trade service, consultancy service, and also they may not be very familiar with the regulatory environments outside of the mainland. And this is an area that our professional sectors can help. That is one. And at the same time, we have to open up new markets and open up new capital sources. It seems to us the Middle East and Southeast Asia are the primary targets, although the functions could be different. In terms of new capital, Middle East very, very promising.
Yes.
Last year, 2 ETF listed on the Saudi exchange, investing back to Hong Kong. The total amount in the order of 13 billion Hong Kong dollars. But this is only the beginning. So on this, what we have been trying to do and in the implementing is to bring some GBA businesses as well as Hong Kong companies to go to Saudi as well, to set up co-investment industry park. And this will reinforce the investment relationship and trade relationship between the Middle East and us. So it is not just financial investment, but it's real economy cooperation. We also send delegations from the science park, the startups, the tech companies going there. They welcome this. So we have to be creative in terms of our engagement with them to create win-win situation to reinforce the continuing cordial investment and trading relationship. As to Southeast Asia is more like a consumer market and also a manufacturing base for companies from this part of the world. Yeah,
All
thank you.
All right, Mr. Chan, we have another caller on the line, and it's Stephen.
Stephen, good morning.
Stephen.
Good morning, Financial Secretary.
Good morning.
I was a little disappointed that the grant for the schools of $2,500 was cut in this most recent budget, and I was just wondering, does Hong Kong still care about the birth rate in Hong Kong? And I think it's something that the country of China really cares about, increasing the birth rate. And I think Hong Kong can maybe lead the way for the whole country and introduce some new and innovative policies that will increase the birth rate here in Hong Kong, such as perhaps helping people to move out of their home, or helping people to start families, things like that. Because I worry about young Hong Kong people who live with their parents until they're 30 or 35. They never really get to start a family.
Thank you, Stephen. We do care about our young people, do care about providing the support to the parents. This is very dear to our heart. And in terms of education, indeed, the budget allocation to education continue to exceed 100 billion a year. So it is a very substantial investment. We need to enforce a reinforced fiscal consolidation plan. So the various government bureau and departments have to contribute. And in reviewing their portfolio and reviewing their resources allocation, the Education Bureau considered that this allowance to the 2,500 at the moment is regardless of means. It is really not very targeted to help those in need. And for those in need, we do have subsidies in other schemes to provide them with the needed support. That is why we thought perhaps on this, given the stringent fiscal situation, as well as the fiscal consolidation, we stop providing this. And I hope the parents do understand our situation. Thank you, Stephen.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Chan, we're going to take a short break very soon.
Sure.
But before we do that, I just want to follow up on what Stephen was asking. How did you decide to just cut the $2,500? Why not reduce it instead?
As I said, the Education Bureau, in reviewing this, they thought that this is a non-means test allowance, and for those in need, they have other schemes to provide them with similar support. That is why this allowance needs to be abolished.
But what about, would you consider offering more support for families in need, for example?
Certainly we can, this is in our plan. For those in need, we can reinforce and enhance the support. That is a more targeted support to the needed group.
Right. Okay. All right. Mr. Chan, we are about to take a short break. You can, of course, answer more questions from our callers in a moment. And Mr. Chan, he'll be here with us until 9 a.m. So do get your calls in early. Our number is 233-88266. That's 233-88266. If you want to speak directly to the Financial Secretary about the budget. And once again, our number is 233-88266. So don't miss this opportunity to talk directly to Mr. Chan, and we'll be back in a moment, in around 3 minutes, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Financial Secretary Phone In with me, Janice Wong, and Tony Sabine. In the studio with us is the Financial Secretary, Paul Chan, and Mr. Chan will be here with us until 9 a.m. to answer all your calls about the budget, or to listen to your views on the budget. If you want to speak directly to Mr. Chan, just call our number. Our number is 233-88266. That's 233-88266. Now, Mr. Chan, before we go to our next caller, I know we focused a lot on the spending cuts in the first half of the program. Maybe can we talk a bit about your plan on AI, your plan to turn Hong Kong into an international exchange and cooperation hub for artificial intelligence? I mean, AI is a fast-moving field.
Yep.
Do we have the talent to make this happen?
Well, for AI, I think the critical success factors for this to prosper are 5 areas. One is, of course, the computing power, which we are going to build supercomputing centers. And then the algorithm, and then the data, and then talent, and then the related financial support. So we are driving the AI development in Hong Kong through these 5 areas. On talent, Hong Kong is very attractive. At the moment, at the science park, at the cyberport, we get quite a number of AI talents. And indeed, our universities are very advanced in this area and have many outstanding academics. And in my overseas trips to the US, I talked to some of the startups and tech companies there. Again, they want to tap this part of the world in terms of market development. And Hong Kong is the natural landing pad for them to come, for them to bring their family, their children, the education, the lifestyle, the free and open society. Very attractive to them. And also for mainland companies, if they want to go global, for those AI companies. On the mainland, they could not have that convenient, easy access to international data. But in Hong Kong, they can do that anytime. So that is our unique position under the one country, two systems arrangements.
Mr. Chan, we have another caller on the line, caller Johnny. Good morning, Johnny. What is your question?
Johnny, good morning.
About the North Island project, North Metropolis Island.
Right. So, Johnny, you would like to know more details about this project.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Any update on the budget?
The reclamation of Lantau.
Reclamation
Hello.
of... are you referring to Lantau or Gaoyizhou?
No.
No, the Northern Metropolis, right?
That's right.
Yeah. On Northern Metropolis, this will be a major economic powerhouse for Hong Kong.
Yes.
Neighboring Shenzhen, this is a key area for our collaboration with Shenzhen and other GBA cities in terms of technological research as well as the related industry development. As you know, Shenzhen, in terms of tech companies, they have get a cluster of such great companies. And in Hong Kong, we are very good in research, and we are moving towards translational research as well as industry-led research. So there are synergies to be achieved by working with Shenzhen and other neighboring cities like Dongguan and Weizhou, which are very good in terms of manufacturing capabilities. That is why we thought for the innovation and technology sector, naturally the Northern Metropolis will be the key area for these companies to be located. At the same time, this will be a major land supply for Hong Kong, major housing supply area. And thirdly, in terms of logistic, because Northern Metropolis, the west part, Hong Shui Kiu, very close to the airport. So for development of high-value logistic services, also important. And as you may know, the Qianhai is a national platform, a very important national platform in terms of Shenzhen-Hong Kong cooperation. And that from Shenzhen and Qianhai, we are planning a cross-border railway as well as other transport connectivity. So in a nutshell, Northern Metropolis, we will be expediting its development by increasing investment into it.
All right. Thank you, Johnny, for your call. And you're tuning in to our special phone-in program with the Financial Secretary, Paul Chan. If you want to speak directly to Mr. Chan or you want to share your views on the budget with him, just call our number. Our number is 233-88266. That's 233-88266. And we have another caller on the line, and it's Judith. Good morning, Judith.
Yes, good morning.
Judith, good
Mackay
morning.
Speaking. Good morning, Mr. Chan. Thank you and well done for keeping our beloved Hong Kong on a steady course. I think we all appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just really phoning as a resident of Hong Kong for nearly 60 years now as a doctor. You know, I recognise that Hong Kong needs to support hospitals and research, but as in other places, our hospitals are bulging due to an ageing population, chronic disease and overuse of A&E. And really, this cannot go on. And I think Hong Kong has an opportunity to reset the emphasis on curative medicine, and indeed it has to for the future. And the truth is that health in Hong Kong will never be improved unless there's a far greater emphasis on primary prevention. And this requires not only funding, but a mind change of the population as well as of government. And I would just really hope in future budgets that there would be a far greater emphasis on primary health care in Hong Kong. I know the government's looking into it, and it has been doing for 30 years, but I sense now there is a greater impetus because of the situation in Hong Kong that we're facing. There's a greater impetus to actually make this happen.
Yeah, thank you, Judith. I can't agree with you more. To enhance the medical care for our community, primary care development is the direction. And indeed, we have one area being, one particular district being implemented, the pilot scheme. And the idea is taking stock of the experience in that pilot area. We will be rolling out this across the territory into 14 district primary care centers. And the medical and the health bureau is taking this initiative forward. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chan, I just want to move on to another topic and talk about some of the comments you made at LegCo yesterday about how you want the government to sort of wean itself off its dependency on land sales revenue and maybe also relying a little bit more on salaries, profit taxes. Does this also mean that you might, or the government might be thinking about some sort of sales tax further down the line? What other initiatives or measures is the government potentially looking at to diversify its revenue streams?
At the moment, we do not have any plan to implement a sales tax or GST scheme. Our thinking is that when you look at our collections from profits tax and salaries tax, despite volatility in the economy,
yes,
those income are relatively stable and indeed increasing quite steadily.
Yes.
So what is important is to grow our economy. If the economy is prosperous, our collection from both profits tax and salaries tax will be increased. Land revenue is susceptible to economic cycles. We don't think we should over-rely on land revenue. We need to provide enough land supply to the market to build enough affordable, on the one hand, public housing, but on the other hand, also private housing. So we will continue with the land supply work, although the rolling out of these sites to the market, we will be very careful, judging from the market, prevailing market situation. By growing our economy, we will be able to increase our regular income from profits tax and salaries tax, as well as stamp duty. Say, for example, if the financial centers development is doing well, the stamp duty from stock trading will increase quite a lot, as you may have realized in the recent 2 weeks. But aside from that, globally, the OECD is pressing ahead with the global minimum tax, and we have to comply with that.
Yes.
So from the year 2027 to 2028, we are going to collect about 15 billion from this initiative as well. So overall, we think by implementing this and at the same time enforcing a fiscal consolidation program, we'll be able to bring us back to balance. Indeed, on the operating account, we will be in balance in the year 26, 27,
yes.
And thereafter we'll register surplus. On the capital account, because we need to expedite our investment in the Northern Metropolis and this infrastructure, public works investment, the return will be coming back from the later years. There will be a gap in the capital account.
Yes.
And for the capital account gap, we will be using our surplus from the operating account to partly support that, but at the same time to issue some bonds to help us to move forward with those projects timely and to repay it over a period of time later.
All right, Mr. Chan, we have another caller on the line, and it's Venkat. Good morning, Venkat.
Hi. Good morning.
Venkat, good morning.
Very good morning to you, and I'm very, very happy with your very balanced budget. It's a very sensible one. But one point I would like to highlight to you is the Hong Kong retail industry, is going through a lot of changes, and it is losing to online shopping. It is losing to people going across the border and shopping. All this cannot be stopped. But what is the plan to preempt any further decline in the retail sector? And as a result, it is going to also put a pressure on the rental market in street level and shopping mall outlets. So I did not see much about this being highlighted in the budget. Will you be able to give me some insight to it? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Venkat. The retail sector has been experiencing some challenge in the past 2 years due to the changing spending patterns of locals and visitors. Our response is that, we need to bring in more high-spending visitors from all over the world and also open up new visitor sources from the mainland. So on the one hand, we have the support of the central authorities to open up more provincial capital cities citizens to come to Hong Kong on individual visitation basis. And also the one visa, multiple entry visa, not just confined to Shenzhen residents, but possibly extend to GBA residents. These are areas that we're pushing forward. In addition to that, we think we have to organize, and indeed we have been organizing many mega events. And these events are not just on entertainment, but say, for example, in sports, in culture. March we'll be having Art Basel, and then we have Live Golf, and we have Rugby 7, and for Live Golf, we talked to them and managed to secure them to come back in the next 2 years as well. So this is just some of our initiatives to organize more mega events in Hong Kong on multiple fronts, so that give people more reasons to come to Hong Kong, and when they come to Hong Kong, do stay overnight, do stay a little longer, and spend more money here. So we are doing this on multiple fronts. Thank you, Venkat.
Mr. Chen, as a follow-up to that, talking about trying to get more tourists here, just to sort of increase spending, help support the retail sector. The resumption of the hotel accommodation tax, the administration doesn't think that might deter tourists anyway from staying a little bit longer.
It is only 3%. On average, it is about $60 per night.
Okay.
And on average, people staying overnight spend about $6,000. So it is 1% increase. We do think it is affordable, and the 3% hotel accommodation tax, when you compare to big cities around the region, it is still very low. Indeed, the hotel occupancy, when you look at it lately, very high.
Yeah. Mr. Chan, we have another caller on the line, Clarence. Good morning, Clarence.
Good morning.
Good morning, Clarence.
Good morning, Mr. Chan. I'm a recipient of the Social Security. May I know when we will get it? Is it as soon as the Legislative Council approve your plan, we will get the money? Is that right, sir?
For the Social Security payment...
half-month bonus.
Yes, after the approval by the Legislative Council
you mean
of
after
the budget.
The approval, it will be immediately given to us. Is that right? After approval?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. That is my question.
Yeah, thank you, Clarence. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Clarence. And I also want to follow up on what you mentioned earlier about attracting high-spending tourists.
Yes.
I know earlier when Tony asked you about sales tax, you said that's not something that you would consider. But how about a luxury sales tax? I know a caller actually asked you that yesterday on the another phone-in program.
That is not in our cut yet. Well, we want to, overall speaking, low and simple tax. Free, open, and embracive society is Hong Kong's attraction. In terms of luxurious goods, whether we should levy tax specifically on it, we need to think about and evaluate between the cost of administration and the revenue collected, as well as the overall impact in terms of the image of Hong Kong. At the moment, we do not have this plan yet. Yeah.
In terms of some of the more esoteric taxes, would you consider eliminating things like transfer duty on gem share transactions? The market has a low turnover, so that might encourage more sort of SMEs to list on the gem exchange and sort of help support more employment and business in that regard and help with capital raising and all that.
Yeah.
Is that something that might be considered?
Reducing stamp duty on the stocks list on the gem market. We do have taken a look at it. Indeed, we have undertaken an internal exercise evaluating the impact of or the relationship between stamp duty and trade volume. There is not a linear relationship between stamp duty and the volume of trade. So the way we see it is perhaps we need to revitalize the gem market by looking at the various aspects. Firstly, in terms of its positioning, and then in terms of the attractiveness of how to make Hong Kong more attractive for, say, for example, deep tech and other companies to come for listing. And at the same time, in terms of investor protection, how to try to balance that. And in certain areas, perhaps a professional investors market, that kind of directions that we are exploring. So I think to revitalize the market, there are different options. Stamp duty, indeed, won't be able to play such a big part. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mr. Chan, we have another call on the line, and it's Nitin. Good morning, Nitin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nitin.
Hi, good morning, Financial Secretary. I just wanted to ask you, I mean, we talk about events and culture and sports and everything, but West Kowloon's been a bit of a white elephant so far. So what are the plans to actually start reviving it? I know when it was initially drawn, we were looking at creating a theatre land in the style of Broadway and West End. That hasn't really happened. So what are you guys going to look at to try and improve that, to try and bring people back to Hong Kong that way?
Yeah, thank you. West Kowloon Cultural District is a major arts infrastructure for Hong Kong. We have invested quite a lot, and the West Kowloon Cultural District Authority has strategic plans to grow the area, not just for cultural activities, but with the vision of using that as a base to create a more dynamic cultural-related industries. The they have a mission to achieve certain degree of self-sufficiency in terms of finance in the coming few years. And in that respect, in terms of how to make itself more attractive, rolling out more different programs to tailor to different interests of the audience are important. And I understand that they are looking at this very seriously and indeed have plans to implement it.
Mr. Chan, I just want to talk about the technology initiatives. I mean, we discussed earlier in the program about AI and emphasis on AI, but also in the budget, there were other tech sectors that you want the government to focus on too, such as low Earth orbit satellites. This is quite an interesting sector to get the city involved in. Could you elaborate more on this scheme and what the government hopes to achieve with this?
That, on the one hand, is a growing area when you look across the border in Shenzhen, in Guangdong. And on the other hand, that can serve multiple purposes. Not just economy, but also for other provision of other public services. So we have set up a working group led by the Deputy Financial Secretary to look at the various options available to Hong Kong, and at the same time, how could we facilitate it by modernizing some of our legislative requirements. Yeah.
All right, but on that issue, in your view, what sort of role will Hong Kong be playing? Do you think it'll be involved in the designing or the making of prototypes? I mean, what's your vision for that?
In our universities, we have researchers engaged in those projects. So I think we can contribute in terms of certain technical areas, our technical capabilities. But at the same time, Hong Kong can be used as a platform to facilitate those products and services to go abroad.
And why do you think now is a good time to enter this sector?
Well, this is a growing sector, and this will bring convenience and possibilities to people, and seems to be quite well received by the younger generation. And this will also change the future business model for some businesses and industry. So we need to embrace it.
Mr. Chan, also going back to AI and the $1 billion allocation for the AI Research Institute and Supercomputing Center at Cyberport, will this make Hong Kong as competitive, or even more so than compared with its regional peers like, say, Singapore, Shenzhen, Shanghai, with the introduction of this initiative? Is this the goal, to sort of, it can sort of go perhaps be on par with its peers, or even go further than that?
I think we have to play to our strengths. On the one hand, compared to like Singapore, our advantage is that we have a vast mainland market. This will provide the user case for many of these AI companies. And compared to companies on the mainland in Shenzhen, we have the convenience of gathering talents, data, and also going global. And that is very unique to us that they do not have. In that sense, they would love to use us as a platform to go out. So we play our strength as a super connector and super value adder, depending on the direction of these companies that they want to go. Yeah.
And what you talked about the 5 main components of ensuring that Hong Kong is an AI hub: talent, finance, data, also the supercomputing power. I mean, do you think that Hong Kong has any sort of challenges in some of those areas? You talk the finance and talent. You talk that you believe Hong Kong has unique advantages in that regard, right?
In terms of finance, yes, particularly for those companies in different stages of development, we have a full chain of funding options, financing options, not just going to be listed on the stock exchange although that is obviously one option. We have a special chapter. But on the other hand, the private equity sector, the venture capital sector are very vibrant here in Hong Kong. And in terms of VC, we are Asia #1, private equity, Asia #2. So it is all the more for these companies to come here to get the funding support to grow for their different stage of development. And for talents, we do think here is the gathering, very convenient place of gathering not just Chinese talents, but also international talents.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Chan, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. Thanks again for joining us on the program, and many thanks to you who called in. If you want to re-watch our special phone-in program, you can do so on TV32. Just check our schedule. You can also re-watch it on Radio 3's Facebook page. And if you want to follow more budget-related news, just go to our RTHK News website. That's all from us for now. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, thank you, Janice.